Hi and welcome to Whiskey Shared. You're watching my review of Dartmoor 3-year-old Bourbon Cask. I'm Toby and you're watching Whiskey Shared. Welcome to my review of Dartmoor Whisky 3-year-old Bourbon Cask matured. This particular whiskey is fairly new. It comes from the Dartmoor Whisky Distillery. If you're not familiar with them, they're an English whisky distillery which is on the edge of the Dartmoor National Park, and it's from a small town called Bovey Tracy. It's about halfway between Exeter and Plymouth, and it's based in the old town hall. They've got an alembic still which was rescued from France. It's direct fired as far as I'm aware, and dates back to 1890, I believe. So there's lots of interesting things going on within the distillery. This is from the batch 2 release, I believe. The batch 1 was basically they had ex-bourbon, ex-sherry and another one. I'm not entirely sure. Bordeaux red wine cask, I think. And once those had all been satisfied, they've been hand signed, I think, by the master distiller. They decided to release an ex-bourbon and an ex-sherry cask. This is the ex-bourbon, and it retails for about, it's about £60 delivered, which isn't too bad for a new distillery. I think this is the first English distillery I've reviewed on my channel, apart from Bimber, the London whisky company. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, what the bourbon cask whiskey tastes like from this new distillery. Bourbon's a good cask to sort of show the character of a new distillery, because obviously their new make isn't being sort of flavoured and hidden as it ages behind a different sort of flavour from other casks. Obviously bourbon's fairly neutral, so it gives a good idea of what's coming out of the distillery. Should we find out what it tastes like? On to the whiskey. Okay, so before I nose and taste it, I'll just talk a little bit about the bottle design and a little bit more about the liquid inside. It's got a really nice sort of Dartmoor pony on the front. It's quite a simple design. It's 46%, it's non-chill filtered, and it's uncoloured. It's cut down with Dartmoor spring water, and it is also made with barley, which is local to Dartmoor. So let's have a quick look at the colour. I'd say that's like a pale straw. It really is quite light. So let's try it on the nose. Right, so instantly I'm getting flavours I wasn't expecting. Sort of, you know, really interesting nose, this one. There's two things going on primarily. One is like a really sort of vegetal, almost like smoky peatiness, but it's quite a sort of a savoury vegetal note. Almost sounds like a hint of seaweed. But behind that sort of savoury note is a sweet vanilla. There is that almost like icing sugar sweetness. That's really quite nice. But it's a real surprise. I wasn't expecting that sort of vegetal note from this 3-year-old ex-bourbon cask. So yeah, very interesting indeed. Let's try it on the palate. Right, so it's very similar on the palate as it is on the nose, but it's intensified on the palate. What I'm getting is that vegetal note comes across as very, very yeasty and almost like Marmite, and behind that is that sweetness, that icing sugar, you know, strong vanilla in it. As the Marmite yeastiness starts to go away, because that's what you instantly get, it comes back with the sweetness. Let's try it again. Yeah, so there's two other things that go on apart from that sort of sweet and savoury battle with your palate. There's a real viscous, real sort of clingy, oily spirit going on, which is lovely. But there's also a pepperiness, almost like a chili pepper. It's very tingly on the tongue, and the more you sip this, the more that builds and the longer that lingers. But it's interesting because the that sort of savoury vegetal note is probably a little bit stronger than I'd like. I have tried this with water, and adding, I'd say, adding about a teaspoon of water to a glass of this really does make those savoury notes, which are probably a little bit too unpleasant for my palate to start with. It really does make them gel well together. So for me, I need a little bit of water just to make that savoury note more pleasant. But it's not bad. I do like the fact that this has plenty of flavour. It doesn't instantly wow me. Obviously it's only a 3-year-old whiskey, but it gives me a good idea of what this distillery is doing. Definitely makes me interested in trying more of their range. Possibly even trying some of their current releases rather than just waiting to see what's coming in future. I'd like to try what the other barrels have done to this spirit. But it's yeah, it's really quite interesting. Is it good value for money? Well, when you compare what other distilleries are doing, you know, new distilleries in England, I'd say it's probably, you know, one of the better value English whiskies available. And yeah, I really am interested to see what they're going to do in future. So yeah, until next time, Stauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.